How's it going, Libra community? Soul Tigers here with a special story for this wonderful frequency. So let's go ahead and get started with the vibe and dishing out the introduction cards. Libra, who and what do you walk the line for? Just make sure that you, and this is really important, just make sure that you encompass yourself among the things you work hard for. Sometimes we can get lost when trying to take everyone to success with us. Double check the things that you are compromising on. You don't want to end up building resentment because you said yes to something that you wanted to say no to. Hold caution, Libra, when people come to you, pressuring you to make a decision impulsively. Oh my goodness gracious. That is something that's really here, especially if you have people who could be, and what I'm hearing to say is manipulating you through decisions. A lot of times when people are really trying to pressure you to make a decision impulsively, there's something that's hidden, that they're not trying to show you everything when it comes to the whole truth of what the outcome's going to be of this decision. So something here is we have legal issues, or we could be having a hard time maybe balancing things, seeing the balance of things. This is something here also that has to do with your past, because this is definitely in the past. Maybe you felt blinded before by some of the past decisions that you make. So now you blind yourself in a sense to make other decisions. This could be a routine that you have when it comes to working with others. So definitely take off the blindfold when it comes to these impulsive decisions that people want to bring to you. Something here is there's something about presence and there's something about support that you're not sure. This could be somebody else being present. This could be somebody else showing support, nurturance, not just for yourself. It could be for another. It could be for the very things that you are trying to grow in your life. Be careful, be careful, be careful, because when you get stuck in confusion, that's not a good thing. That is not a good thing, especially if you're in the midst of a narcissist. That is where they can manipulate things. That is where they can get you stuck. So really, really, really take off the blindfold when it comes to somebody's presence and somebody's support for the things that you are growing. Something else that you're not seeing is this Queen rising. You're not seeing how to sit back and assess things. Maybe there's been a lot of impulsiveness lately. Something else is we have a love triangle. Ooh, this is something that you're trying to block out. You are trying to block out, but somebody else can't block it out. Somebody else is really over analyzing things, especially when it comes to others favoring you, I would say. They stick you into some kind of predicament. They stick you into some kind of quick decision making, especially it could be when it's you trying to prove your loyalty to whoever. And right here, you have to be aware of the sheep that are coming in like they are innocent, because they're not innocent. That's merely a cover that they bring in. There's a lot of falseness that whoever, whatever, that wants to manipulate you through your decisions. A few other things that's here is a drama starter. Oh my goodness gracious. And that drama starter is a mere copycat. They're merely copying things. This is a little funky. this is a little funky. And you know what? I thought it was very interesting how I was pulled to the T Oracle deck right away, because I mean, when I was filling the vibe out, it didn't feel like it was a good match when I grabbed this, but this is the deck that I was told to grab this in. So there is somebody here who wants to create a little bit of off balanceness. This could be somebody here who is wearing a really big mask, a mask that you haven't been able to peek behind yet, or you're choosing not to peek behind because you have that blindfold on. And you wear this blindfold because you're not trying to make the same mistakes that have happened in your past with others. It has to do with love. It has to do with somebody that you do have around you. But this person could be very jealous. They could be very bitter. They can be very controlling. And sometimes when we're trying to settle for certain partnerships, whether in relationships or even in business, we will put up with a lot of drama when we feel like, it's time to settle. It's time to have this as a good match, because a lot of the outside things that you see are a good match. But there's other things that are not really good matches for you here. But you are doing your best with this blindfold on to keep things balanced. Again, look at the way this person is present in the things, and also look at the way they bring in support. Now, if somebody tries to knock you down to get certain decisions made, that is not support. If somebody is always derailing when you need support to try and bring in themselves, to try and elevate themselves, to get you to do more work for them, instead of helping you by even being a supportive person, there's something weird going on. There is definitely something weird going on. Be careful, be careful. And as you can see, that I don't know, the energies, whoever this is doesn't want things to be talked about. Maybe you don't want to talk about it because you could be in a situation that is kind of maybe like a situation in the past, and you thought that you were able to surpass things like that. Oh my goodness gracious. We get put into situations because there are lessons that we need to learn still. I think it was for the Capricorn community, or was it Virgo? It was one of the earth signs. But they had thought they skipped a lesson, but then so many years again, that lesson comes back later, like so many years later. So you cannot skip lessons here. They will present themselves to you again in even like 10 years from whatever past lesson that was supposed to be there. So in this present moment, you have a lot of things that are trickling in from your past. It definitely has to do with the things that you are really passionate about, the things that you wanted to grow, the things that you wanted to help make. So this is not just for you. This is you wanting to grow with another. This is you having passions to try and bring others with you when it comes to your success. You're not just a person who thinks about yourself when it comes to you overcoming different accomplishments. This is something that you like to do for others, but this is something that could be very, very taking from the different investments that you have made. It's definitely something that's hard to judge upon, especially when it comes to the different illusions. You hide from judgment. You hide from judging others harshly. What I'm getting is you like to always give others the benefit of the doubt. But you have to understand is there's a lot of times you really need to look at the behavior. You need to look at all the things that you overlooked when it came to the different behaviors, the different predicaments that I'm hearing to say that they put you in. And you really need to call it for what it is. Because a lot of times if they were doing that kind of behavior, this is behavior that they are in routine with. Now, when it comes to the present, you are very, very, very confused when it comes to contracts, working with others, and them working out. I feel like with you, you feel like if you put in more work, then it's going to work out. Even if this person isn't the greatest person, you can help them achieve that greatness by you being there and trying to do things. But the whole thing is this holds you back. This holds you back from yourself. This holds you back from the actual goals that you have, from the different things that you want to manifest. Here, you're trying to make something happen because there is some kind of settling energy, I'm hearing to say. But whatever this drama starter's doing, it's leaving you stuck. It doesn't help you really spread your wings in the way that you're meant to spread your wings. This is something that's kind of like holding you back in a sense. What I'm seeing is you have this rope tethered to your ankle, and you have it tethered to somebody else who just doesn't really want to move the way you want to move. So you're stuck having to sit and wait for them to be ready to move. And even if you want to go off in a certain direction, it's like you have to drag them along because they don't have that same kind of oomph for what you are dreaming about. Instead, there may be the compromise, well, I really want to go this way, but this person is not letting me go this way, and they want to go this way instead. So I'm going to compromise because I still want to make that progress, and I'm just going to go that direction that they want me to go. You have to be careful. This is why you really, really need to check in when it comes to the different ideas that you're having. Check in and how people are receiving those ideas. Are they trying to stomp out those ideas? Are they asking you about those ideas? Are they trying to help you see ways to get to those ideas? Because we each have our own purpose on our paths. So you have to be careful, because there are going to be people who are going to knock you off of those certain paths where you are really meant to go to get you to go astray with them. So be careful, be careful, be careful trying to overly prove yourself to somebody who is not totally in it to win it with you as a person of support. Oh my goodness gracious. We have to be careful. We have to be careful. A lot of times we really judge people based on their social media image, the image that they're wearing to the world, the mask. And we tend to overlook a lot of their certain behaviors because of how we've intertwined with this person and how this person wears their mask. Really, really, really ask yourself, do you want to keep the blindfold on to try and appease others like you've once done before? Because at the end of the day, you're cheating yourself. And all these moments that you feel cheated, all the moments you want to say no, are going to pile up within you. And 5 years from now, I'm hearing to say, maybe even 10 years from now, there's going to be bitterness that's going to be rooted in your heart about things. And you're going to start to look at that person a little bit differently. And or you're going to end up giving up on all the things that you want to work hard for. And instead, you'll end up giving all your energy to who this is and trying to build their success. That's how they'll knock you off of your purposeful path. So be careful, be careful. Let's call in the angels of protection. Angels of protection, please help, guide, and keep us safe as we navigate the shadow side here for the Libra community. There's a lot of tricks being played here. I could tell you that right now. Oh my goodness gracious. It's a lot of tricks that are being played on you. A lot of tricks that really pull at you, a lot of tricks that you try and distance yourself from when it comes to acknowledging things. And this is something right here, is we have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups, you're wanting to have this personal success, but you have to be careful at the things that are behind you, the things that you think are supporting you. You have to be careful. Something here, again, that you're still tied to is some kind of past relationship where there was a lot of control. I don't think you fully healed from that just yet, and this is why somebody is able to kind of control you right now in a sense. It's the same kind of thing that's happening before, and you're kind of submitting to things as well, to people please. And that's something that's a part of your energy, is you want to relate to others and you are willing to people please with this others. You have to be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, because the more you keep yourself blind, the more that you're appeasing these wolves in the sheep's clothing, the more it's going to break you down, break down your success, break down all the things that you worked hard for. It's actually going to sit here and could bankrupt you in a sense, not just energetically, but also materially as well. Be careful, be careful. Nine of Swords to the Six of Wands. The whole thing is you're trying to avoid chaos. You're trying to avoid the fights because you don't want to fight like before in the past. But if you notice back then, you had the blindfold on to a lot of things. And if you think about it, you're almost on the same trajectory of repeating a past mistake, but just in a different way, with a different person, with a different place. That's what I'm seeing, because you're kind of doing the same thing that you were doing before, but just in a different way. So be careful, be careful, be careful. Something here is we have this Knight of Cups. Somebody could be very emotionally immature, and this is something that you're really having to put up with. Eight of Wands. This is something that you're really defensive about, and this is something that you don't hold optimism and the light about. So what's happening here is you have somebody who is a little temperamental when it comes to their emotions. And when I say emotionally immature, this person can really act impulsively when it comes to them being emotional as well. This is something that really takes from this other and really makes it hard for this other to build things on their own. What I'm hearing, this is why they have to attach themselves to others in order to find bigger, higher successes. And I feel like this is something that you've noticed as well. There's some kind of behavior that they have done around you, especially when it comes to them wanting the glory of things, I'm hearing to say. And this is something that you try and hide from because you don't want to create judgment, even though the Judgment card's not here. But you don't want to head towards this conflict because you don't want stuff to crumble. Because if stuff crumbles, then how are you going to feel about yourself? A lot of times, if we keep hitting these things that are on repeat for us, then we start to blame ourselves, and then we start to think, well, then maybe it's all me and something's wrong with me type of thing. In a sense, you're right. Because if you've attracted in a personality, a partnership that is once like before, then you haven't healed from the past all the way. You have found a way to fill a void, but you're filling the void in the same way. And like I said, I feel like there's a lot of jealousy here from this other person in this partnership, whether it's a business partnership or it's in a relationship. And all you did this time was find somebody who wears a mask that you've let them wear around you. There's things that you've overlooked, especially when it comes to the drama, when it comes to how they're checking in on what you're doing, and at the same time how distant they are when you try and get intimately close with them. And I don't mean taking off your clothes intimately close with them. I mean intimately close where you guys are bonding because you have the same goals. That's what I mean with that one. Oh my goodness. And right now, you may be in this situation, you may be working to the future of things, but emotionally, there's something here that you have held back. There's something here that you know there isn't a good way to have, how do I want to put this? It's not that it's fruitful, it's fertile. That's the word that I'm looking for. It's fertile. It's not fertile here in the sense because you don't see a bigger picture with them when it comes to the future. They're in your immediate, they could be in the tidbit of the future, but you don't see the fertility of this partnership and the future of things. Why don't you see that fertility? Here, it's a lot of, like I said, the optimism's on the shadow side. It's a lot of you being defensive, and it's a lot of you denying the complex. This is something that what I'm hearing to say is, in order to gain clarity, you're going to have to take a step back and see what it is that you actually want. You're going to have to elevate yourself so that you can see the bigger picture of things. And you're going to have to do this in your own genuine self, in your own unique self, not the self that is putting on the mask to appease these others type of energy here. Because right now, there's not a sense of having this grand new adventure with this person because you're going to have to be held back because you have to worry about their reactions. That's hard. That is really, really, really hard, Libra. Oh my goodness gracious. So before we get started with the conclusion, I have the White Light Oracle right here, right now. So the White Light Oracle is here for confirmation. So there's something here that you've been pondering. There's stuff that you've been asking. And we're just going to use this to confirm that, to confirm the things that you feel within when it comes to the guidance, hearing the guidance, the little things that you see around you of the guiding energies. So it may be one card, it may be 3 cards that come out. I'm not totally sure, but let's call in divine. Divine, 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 and universal energy. What is it that you have for the Libra community when it comes to these reconfirming messages? All right, I'm hearing that's it. We have a whole 2 cards here. And as you see, those 2 cards really fall out into the present of things, but they also fall out into this contract that you're confused on. A lot of times we go through the same situations over again because, again, we haven't learned something about ourselves, whether it's what we deserve, whether it's where we really want to be in life, and who we want to be in life with, what kind of communities we want to surround ourselves with. So let's go ahead and check out these cards. Ooh, you got 3. Did not see that. So we have these 2 on top. Ishtar's Lion's Gate, 888. Let's read about those 8s. You have the universe support. Prosperity is coming. An old phase is ending. But you have to create that free will, and you have to use that free will through guidance. Something else we have here is Lasya of Parvita. making sure to take time. Take time to really fill out what's really going on when it comes to your emotions. Then we have beta of spirit wolf. You're in a partnership, and that partnership is with the divine. How can you open up to understanding that the flow comes in, the flow goes out? It's all a part of it, and you don't have to try and bulldoze things over to make things happen your way. A lot of times when we have things in the present moment that are reminding us of the past, we can become very extra defensive, and we can become very overcompensating to try and overrule what's happening, what's triggering us. So let's go ahead and get started. We have 44 here. All right, Ishtar's Lion Gate 88. Your heart has a heightened connection with the higher realms of consciousness and light. A blessing, empowerment, and positive omen shall enter your world. Doors will open for you. Abundance and prosperity are headed your way. Take care of your heart. Ask for spiritual assistance, and it shall be granted. Something negative is going to transform into something very positive. Like I said, one of the things that you can do is pray about things. When at the heart, when you don't understand what's going on, when you don't understand what to do, pray about it. One of the things that I do personally is I pray for the truth to come out. It may take 3 months. It may take half a year. It may take a year. But the truth will always prevail. And it's not always the truth hits others, but the truth, we want it to be revealed to us when it comes to the truth of things and how we're going to operate from there, but also how it affects us. So let's move on to our next one. All right, 32. Lasya of Parvati. There is a gentler way to proceed and obtain the same or even greater effect. Tame the wild and frenzied workings of the mind by grounding yourself with beauty, pleasure, and grace. Violence and its negative effects shall be overcome and healed through feminine gentleness and inner spiritual strength. This oracle is a sign of a great future of happiness. Oh my goodness gracious. A lot of times when we're being triggered, that does create a negative effect in us. Like I said, we want to overcompensate to overpower that trigger, whatever's reminding us of that. For feminine energy, it's dark, it's moon, it's recessive, it's nurturing, it's damp, it's cool, it's water, it's female, it's negative charge, it's earth, it's autumn, and it's winter. A lot of those things talk about being able to sit with yourself. Sit and reflect in a nurturing manner where you're not hard on yourself, but you're sifting through yourself through love to try and figure out what's going on and what is disturbing that inner peace in that inner home. And that's something that needs to happen here if you're going to be able to see the lesson that you are meant to learn to get you to that place that you want to be. So our last card, 23, Beta of Spirit Wolf. Give yourself enough rest. Only then will you be able to ground yourself enough to cultivate focus and motivation to fulfill your path. You will find a way through any tricky situation as you tune into your instincts and trust your own timing. From times of change and uncertainty comes confidence, love, and resilience. Embrace transition, commit to your tasks and stay focused, but be flexible in your approach. You have the skill to intuitively handle any issue. And just remember that the divine gives us loads that we can handle. And it's through those tough times, like mentioned there, that you're going to build resilience, but you're also going to learn something about yourself as well. Here, can you give trust? Trust that this situation has been brought onto your path. Trust that you got yourself into this situation for a reason. There's something here that you have to learn about yourself. There's something here that you're meant to heal. It's not meant to become more negative with it. It's not meant to become more at defense with it. You are meant to find that inner peace, but be able to work out the issues when it comes to these triggers and what it is that triggers you. Because a lot of times things that trigger us make us feel unsafe, make us feel unstable. There's something around that makes you feel very vulnerable. It's once like before. And so it's time for you. The divine does everything in the right time. So right now you've learned a lot from the past now to this present. You are ready. You are ready to heal what you're meant to heal. And you are ready to learn what you're meant to learn so that you can make those leaps, those bounds that you are meant to make on this path of purpose. All right, Libra, this is really, really amazing. Thank you so much for being the last ones up. Thank you for your patience. Don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy for coming on in and helping out. And as always, Libra, I hope that you have a most wonderful rest of your day.